Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast where we talk about everything and anything franchising. Today I'm joined by, you're a regular, aren't you, JD?
I am almost a regular, yeah. In fact, I don't know whether you've noticed, but I've taken over the second bedroom at your place.
I thought I smelt something.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Sorry. It's John Dwyer, JD. Mate, you are the founder of the Institute of Wow, marketing guru. You've never told anyone you worked with Seinfeld before?
No, I've never mentioned that, but look, thanks for bringing it up, but I've never gone on about it, no.
No, of course not. Anyway, so you do a whole bunch of out-of-the-box marketing strategies. You create avalanche sales. You do all this sort of stuff for brands. And I wanted to really zero this in because you talk a lot, so we want to keep it really nice and tight as you smile. I know you know. I just don't want to let you get way too far. We're going to talk about 3 surefire ways to build your customer database. So we're really going to focus in on that.
Yep.
So what's the number one in that?
Well, given that you've sledged me about talking too much, let's go back to when I was born.
Yes. That was not a sledge. It was said with affection.
Yes, of course. We've never said anything nice to each other in about a dozen years. Look, Glenn, really, the 3 big ones for me are, number one, obviously have some special outstanding deal, but there's nothing new about that. I'm sure whoever's watching or listening to this, they realise that. So, it is a 2-for-1 offer or 3-for-1 offer. And of course, make sure that they only get that offer if they, if they give their data to you.
Their details to build your database, yeah.
And I don't need to go on about that one because that's just common sense. But one that we've been testing over the last 6 months, which has been unbelievable, is what we call the Facebook contest formula. And what that is that you give up your product or your service as a prize, and we advertise it on Facebook, or you advertise it on Facebook, but we do it for a lot of businesses. And that is a contest. You say, look, win solar power for your home. Now, the only people who are going to enter that through a Facebook or Instagram contest are people that need solar power.
And this would be for any type of product?
Any product. I think I mentioned to you prior to kicking off, we had a dentist in Western Australia. He wanted to sell Invisalign braces to children with crooked teeth. So we targeted the rich suburbs where the parents could afford $5,000, and we said, how would you like to win invisible braces for your child? The only parent that would enter that contest would be one with children with crooked teeth. He spent $30 a day. So over a week, that's $210, and he got 991 leads in the first week.
Of people who have put their hand up saying, we need Invisalign.
Yeah, and so what he does then, and we have AI robots do it if he can't keep up with it, but he then rings 990 of those people because it was 991 that entered, and he says to them, not him personally, but his girl says to them, look, you didn't win, but the fact of the matter is that you've obviously got children with crooked teeth. We've got a special deal this week. And as it turns out, they have a special deal, and if he gets it by Friday, they get a bonus, whatever that bonus might be.
Mm-hmm. And what sort of bonuses do you normally recommend?
We have a travel partner that gives us access to unsold hotel rooms around Australia and around the world, and we basically provide these vacation vouchers to businesses that they use as a conversion tool. So what happens is that when they ring up and say, look, you didn't win the solar panel, or you didn't win the lawn mowing service, or you didn't win the whatever it might be, but if you get in by Friday, we'll give you not only a special price, but we'll give you a free holiday. And so we provide these holiday vouchers to businesses for less than $50, but they're worth about $1,000 because they're 3 to 7 nights vacation in 4-star hotels. Yeah.
Okay. And what have you found are the reasons that businesses won't take that sort of stuff on? So what scares businesses about that? Because, once again, it almost does that too good to be true type of thing. Mm-hmm. What scares businesses or stops them from taking action on those sorts of things, do you think?
I think probably, Glenn, because, most businesses are set up by people who have become a specialist at their field. So they're a good electrician, or they're a good plumber, or they're a good doctor or dentist, whatever it may be. And they've gone to university or college and they've got the degree to be a good technician, but no one's really ever taught them about getting customers. And, I've got a mate who's a doctor in a doctor's sort of, what would you call it, clinic?
Practice,
yeah. And so there's probably a dozen doctors in there. And he said he can speak for all a dozen of them. No one's ever taught them how to get sick people to come and visit them. And likewise, dentists. I mean, these people are at the top of the hill when it comes to income, but they don't know, most of them don't know a lot about marketing. So that's why, they should talk to someone that has half a clue when it comes to marketing. Yeah.
Okay. And the third way. So we've done 1 and 2. Yep. Surefire ways to build your customer database.
And before I do the third one, with that second one where you hold a contest on, I say Facebook, but it can be Instagram, it can be anything, TikTok, whatever.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
But the point is that the brilliance, if I do say so myself, of that one is that you are basically attracting not leads, but red hot leads, people who have just raised their hand and said, take my money, because they've just said, I want to win a solar system or I want to win lawn mowing.
So they're pre-qualified, really.
They're pre-qualified.
So,
and when they do click the ad, they go through to a landing page. In our instance, if we were to do it for people, we set up the landing page and we pre-qualify them. Obviously, the business tells us what the pre-qualification questions would be, but we make sure that they've got a job, they've got teeth, and, well, maybe not with the dentist, but anyway, with most others. The third one is create a community, create a club. And so we have a client at the moment where it's quite crazy. The numbers are silly. Notice how I lead into this, so at least you think that this is going to be a big success story.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
You're a wake up to me. So what this is, he's a travel agent and he's been in the travel agency game for a long while, and he gets better commissions from cruise companies than he does from, anyone else. And I said, okay, well, you want to attract people who probably have been on a cruise before, because if you've been on a cruise before, there's a good chance you want to go on one again.
Yeah, cruise people generally are cruise people, aren't they?
Exactly.
Just keep going to the next one.
And he wants to sell $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 cruises, not the party cruises that people go on when they're 25. Okay, so because those demographics of the people he's after are probably 50 plus, and they're going to spend $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000 on a cruise. He tells me some of them spend $100,000 on a cruise, And so we said to him, okay, why don't you set up a club? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, it's easier to sell stamps to people who are members of a stamp club than it is to just anyone. Easier to sell model train sets to people who collect model trains. So let's set up a cruise club. So that's what we've done. We set up thecruiseclub.com.au. And it's only been going for about a month, and he's over 1,000 members in the first month. Wait for this. These are, and I know I'm being silly here, building up the, if you like, the momentum, but he's spending a modest let's say lousy $15 a day on Facebook, and he's picking up 30 new members a day. So that's 50 cents a new member. And so over the month, he's got near enough 1,000. Now, guess what? What we're now doing for him is that we're sending out every Tuesday and every Thursday a newsletter, sort of email that gives these cruise people the opportunity to get unbelievable deals, okay? Because he's been able to tap into the cruises where he can actually offer people like special deals.
Discounted stuff for him.
And so, no surprise, of course, when you become a member of the cruise club, you get a free holiday. So therefore, I put that Happy Meal toy in there for him as well. Why not?
That's when they don't want to cruise, but they can get some accommodation somewhere.
Exactly, yeah. So they get 3 or 7 nights away, in a hotel somewhere else in Australia or overseas, but at the same time, they get free membership of this cruise club. And look, that's free. You've got to give free membership to these things because what you want to do is you want to attract the bees to your honeypot and then sell them stuff.
Yep. Okay, so how does it work? So how do you run the community? Is the community in Facebook? How are you doing it?
Okay, in his instance, he wants us to do it because he said, look, if I've got a sore tooth, go to a dentist. He said, you guys are marketing agencies, so therefore you do it for me. But, people can do that. Whoever's watching or listening to this, do it yourself if you want. But I would encourage you because the lead cost is, so B2C, is just a walk in the park. I mean, B2B, as you know,
more challenging. Yeah.
More challenging. You got to get through the gatekeeper, and they're going to have 15 committee meetings, and I'm going to be in a retirement home by the time they make a decision and all that, right? But B2C, we can go straight to Betty Bankstown tomorrow. So in that instance, it was a walk in the park. We just, I said to him, you do realise that if $15 a day is bringing you 30 new members, why don't you just go to $30 a day or $45 a day? You'll be up to 3,000 members a month. And he's going to do that, but he's got to build an infrastructure to handle it because he was just blown away with how quickly.
So when you say build the infrastructure to handle it, you're talking about handling the volume of clients that come his way as a result of it. So when you do those offers, so he's got offers a couple of times a week going out? So I'm just trying to get my head the mechanics
Tuesday,
of the way this
Thursdays,
thing works. So they go Tuesdays, Thursdays. He's selling cruises in that. They're doing it. And then he's obviously got to transact it and do everything he needs to do in his services.
That's his problem. So it's exploded from a sales point of view because keep in mind, when they join the club, when they click the Facebook ad, they go through to a landing page, and on that landing page, we ask them enough demographic questions to know who they are, how old they are, how wealthy they are. We actually ask them, how many cruises have you been on? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We know that if they've been on 5 cruises, well, they're going to want to go on more. And we ask them, do you do river cruises or do you do sea cruises? So we know everything about them, and then we can target the right offers to the right people. So it's a message to market match.
So when we're talking about this, so it's not, because previously and years ago it would have been all build a Facebook community. All right. So we're not talking about that so much now because you don't own that database, and everything's now about owning your own database of people you can access. So that's just a basic autoresponder type of thing? Is that how you do it?
Yep, we set all that up. So therefore, the moment they come on board, they get an email and a text message welcoming them and telling them what they can expect. And although this particular guy, Alan, his name is, who owns the business, is probably he's probably not Johnny Carson when it comes to this sort of thing, like a podcast. What I've done now with him is I said, look, let's do webinars where I interview you. And so therefore, basically, there's a Tonight Show thing, very similar to this. So I interview him, and those webinars come on once every 2 weeks as well. So therefore, if you're going to create a club, doesn't matter whether it's a stamp collection club or a coin collection club or it's a cruise club, then make sure that you are very active in terms of what you contribute to these people, because obviously the benefits of being a club have to be real. They can't be just made up.
Yeah, it can't be a club with just a newsletter.
Yeah.
There's got to be something else to it, doesn't it?
Yep. Yep.
So, these are clever ideas. Let me
Thank you.
say
If
this,
you don't
but-
mind, I'll just do
No,
this.
But you haven't let me finish yet.
Oh.
They're clever ideas, but not so clever that no one else could have thought of them right.
Right.
It's more in the execution, isn't it? It's more about people. What stops people doing this sort of stuff themselves? Why do they just go for the normal traditional, I'll just throw money at Facebook and get leads to my landing page or just send them to my website?
Well,
Why don't they think differently about this stuff?
Because my belief is they're suffering from a disease that's worse than COVID.
And what's that?
It's called dickheaditis.
Oh,
I just thought I'd throw that in. That'll be cut out probably, would it,
we're going to
John?
have to cut that out. Anyway, go on.
Okay.
Because I've got to answer to YouTube. I can't have.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, you asked the question again then.
Yeah. No, it's all right. Keep going.
Okay.
We'll just cut it.
Look, the part I think the main reason is that businesses are run by technicians. It's a little bit what I said before. So therefore, they're very good doctors or butchers or bakers, but they just haven't been used to marketing. And somebody asked me on one of these podcasts, it was an American guy, because of my vintage, baby boomer vintage, he said to me, look, what's changed over the years? And I said, nothing. I said, I used to do all the scratch bingos for Murdoch's newspapers and the Monopoly style promotions for, McDonald's and KFC and all the fast food chains. And nothing's really changed except the platforms. So therefore, what worked, 20 or 30 years ago will work now. It probably work faster now because the platforms being what they are. But the reason that people don't do this sort of stuff is a lack of creativity. Because, they're a butcher, baker, candlestick maker. They weren't taught this sort of marketing expertise. And number two, most of them are so busy in their business that they can't get the time to do it themselves. And that's why most of the times, when I'm speaking at conventions or conferences or doing something like this, people who knock on my door are very similar to me when I get my car serviced. When I put my car serviced in, the guy says, listen, you can get it done cheaper if we get the carburetor from a second hand. I said, mate, stop there.
You don't
Okay.
care.
Yeah. I'll give you $4 million, just fix the car, right? And they want it done for them. So, for most businesses, they're very happy to, recognize the creativity and the horsepower of these ideas, but they don't want to do it themselves. They just say, look, you do it.
No, I'm a big fan of done for you.
Yep.
That's what we've always tried to do in our services to help people, help clients, help brands, and everything is.
Well, exactly. I mean, your
done for
podcast,
you.
I know your model very well, and, this is it. I mean, you do it for them. They don't want to set all this stuff up. They want the podcast done for them. Yeah.
And I think that's where, it just makes it easier for everyone, I think, rather than trying to do bits and pieces for people. And because I don't know, stresses or frustrations in your business going forward is when people take the sort of the knowledge of this sort of stuff and get some information from you and engage you and then tinker with it.
Yep.
Tinker with it.
Yeah. It's funny. Went to a doctor's appointment recently. I'm still going to be here for a while, by the way, so therefore there's good news to this. But he said, I realised you went to another doctor. And I said, well, you were on holidays at the time. And he said, oh, okay, right. He said, I just thought I'd mention to you that do whatever you like and go to as many doctors you like, but you probably find you're going to get a better result if you stick to the one doctor. You'd have a real shot at me. And so anyway, I thought to myself, yeah, fair enough. It makes sense. And look, the thing is that I'm the opposite from MacGyver. I do not know what to do with a hammer. I go to Bunnings on a weekend just to look like a man and get the sandwiches, the sausage sandwiches. Really, at the end of the day, I reckon if you've got a sore tooth, go to a dentist. And so therefore, if you see that there's value in this sort of stuff, don't even use us, go and use somebody else, because there'll be another advertising agency out there that can possibly do the same thing. But yeah, don't try and do it yourself. And that's the frustration, is when they say, you know what, my 19-year-old daughter does great landing pages, so therefore I got her to do this. And when you look at it, you go, oh God, it's going to fail. It's going to fail.
Excellent. All right, good insights. Building a database, a customer database is essential going forward, because you need to get control of that traffic and that audience.
Glenn, can I say this to you too? Is that can I say this to you?
You can.
Okay.
I thought that was just
I've got to say this then.
Yeah.
you and I were having a discussion the other day, and nobody collects data. I mean, the thing is that and somebody who might be watching this will go, oh, I do, but hardly anyone collects data. I mean, Amazon's been around for a little while. They've told us what you can do with data, and they were a book business, as you know, to start with, and now they sell everything but the kitchen sink. Do you know, I've been into restaurants here in Australia and overseas. Not one restaurant has ever asked me for my name and contact details, including McDonald's. Now, McDonald's might have a QR code or get you to do an
app
app
and everything. Yeah.
But, really, at the end of the day, on that tray that they give you with the paper mat, it should have something on there to encourage you to put your name and contact details on. And look, put McDonald's and fast food chains aside. The fact is that no cafe or restaurant I've ever been into, and I've been around a little while, has ever asked for my details. We have a restaurant client. Happens to be in Victoria. He's the only restaurant in the world that's full 365 nights a year. And the reason is because when somebody comes in, he gives them a ticket, and that ticket is an entry form into winning dinner for 10 of your friends at the end of the month. And of course, it's got your details. He's up to 92,000 on a database, and he never does any advertising anymore. He just sends out a text message at 3:00 every afternoon and says, guess what? Chef Pierre has a special deal for you and your partner tonight, $68 for whatever it might be. And when they come in, they'll spend $150, but nonetheless, the special deal 68, and he sends that out every afternoon at 3:00, fills his restaurant that night. He doesn't have to do any advertising.
And everyone's running around the edges trying to solve their problems other than building a database.
Build a database. I mean, you and I have been around long enough to know that phrase, database is king, but it is. I mean, if you've got a database, in our instance, our database is business owners, and if I want to make some more money and yours is the same, if I want to make some more money this week, and you don't bash them because that's the wrong thing to do, but if I wanted to make more money this week, I'll send out an email to them with a special deal. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Great way to finish.
Thanks
JD.
No
doubt we'll speak again.
Bye, mate.
That's it again for another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. Hope you enjoyed this. Catch you in the next one soon.